Hey everyone, welcome back to Retro Modding News. There are about 8 billion stories today, so let's just get started. This first story is a little bit confusing, and I'll do my best to try to digest it for you, but it comes from WebHDX. This is a Wii Mini microSD and reset button mod kit. Now I wish there were a few more pictures here to kind of explain more about what this actually does, but if you scroll down into the comments here on this tweet, Shank was basically asking WebHDX about this mod. I think long story short, this lets you add an SD card slot to a Wii Mini which doesn't have one already, as well as a reset button. I believe there's additional software modifications you have to do for this, but in the end it'll let you have an SD card slot and a reset button on a Wii Mini. I sort of like this concept of taking a Wii Mini which doesn't have all the features that a normal Wii does and like re-Wiiifying it. I think it'd be really cool to have this and like a Wii Dual and just have a totally customized Wii Mini. If I find more information about this, I'll let everyone know, or maybe WebHDX can reach out to me and kind of give me some tips about what this actually is. Alright, recently I covered Humble Bazooka's Neo Geo Bluetooth Controller adapter, and the other day they tweeted about working on a Bluetooth controller for the Neo Geo. I think that this is an original Neo Geo CD pad and not one of those new Neo Geo Mini ones, but it sounds like they're working on a mod to adapt either this one or the mini Neo Geo controller to be Bluetooth compatible. I really like the style of this controller, and it would be really awesome if there was a mod that allowed it to be wireless. I think this would be the perfect controller for me to play Neo Geo games on. Right now, this is just some heavy development. However, they tweeted the other day a poll asking if they'd rather this mod be a external box where you'd plug the controller into the box, or if this would be a replacement or solderable PCB that went into the controller. If it were me, I would want it to be a replacement PCB because I think it would just be cool if it was a self-contained controller, but I could see the appeal of wanting a universal box. That way maybe you could have any type of Neo Geo controller or a fight stick that has the same controller pins and adapt that to be Bluetooth to use in the Neo Geo. Next, let's talk about a new Brook controller adapter. This one looks like a memory card for the PS2. Now I have this older Brook adapter for the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. It's got the PlayStation controller plug on there. I think that this adapter is supposed to be a replacement for this one, but just a lot smaller. I can't read what this says here, and there's no real list in English about what features are going to be available for this dongle, but I can only imagine it will work with Bluetooth controllers like PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and probably with Xbox controllers as well, but usually over USB. It sounds like this is maybe going to release soon, maybe this year, so hopefully we have some more details about all the features for this dongle. I do want to kind of point out some bad manners that they announced this product in August of last year as a response to Will's Console Mod's Uno Retro Blue Retro adapter. I don't necessarily know if Brook meant this to be kind of rude, but I just thought it was kind of funny. I don't think this is meant to one-up Will's Console Mod's mod at all. Anyways, I just wanted to point that out. Speaking of PS2 accessories, Macho Nacho went over this MC2SIO SD Adapter for the PS2. I recommend that you go watch Tito's video about this, but long story short, this is an SD card adapter that you can use along with FreeMcBoot so that you can play PS2 games from an SD card. I know I've been complaining about wanting an OSD for the PS2, and this seems like a cool solution where you can just put some of the PS2 games that you have on an SD card, and along with FreeMcBoot and a custom version of OPL, you can load the games from an SD card. Now, unfortunately, this SD card is out of stock, so hopefully more come in stock so that we can all enjoy playing PS2 games from an SD card. All right, moving right along, the replacement Game Gear motherboard that actually Macho Nacho also reviewed maybe a few months ago from that developer Math, I think they're being sold now on his website. A pre-assembled Game Gear replacement motherboard, it's actually out of stock right now. However, they do sell the loose PCBs here. You would need to buy all of the components from the bill of materials and solder the whole main board yourself, but at least these PCBs are currently available. I do want to point out that this is only compatible with VA1 model Game Gears, the single ASIC version, because you will need to use some parts from an original Game Gear main board, probably the CPU and some other pieces. So you will need one that is compatible with a Game Gear model VA1. Along with that, I noticed that they have this BenVen IPS to JST kit. This is essentially all the wiring that you'll need to hook up a BenVen screen to this replacement Game Gear motherboard. I thought this was pretty cool, so instead of hand soldering all your wires, you could just use this kit and connect it right to the BenVen screen. So all the stuff is available on the store. I'll leave a link in the description. Mike Chi was talking about a custom resolution for the RetroTink 5X the other day. It's actually the resolution of those iPad CRT screens that LaserBear sells. If you don't know what I'm talking about, over here on LaserBear's store, he's got either this CRT or there's actually an LCD version too. But these are kits that allow you to use an iPad screen as either a tiny LCD or CRT TV. It's a little bit gimmicky, but I think it's cool that they can use iPad screens in something that's this tiny form factor. But that's the downside of his existing mod, is it's this 9.7-inch iPad screen. In the response to Mike Chi's tweet, Greg from LaserBear commented that he's still hoping to do a 21.3 project this year. I can only guess that Greg is talking about using a larger 21.3-inch screen to make one of those LCD or CRT kits. Now there's nothing official here, but I think this would be really cool. It's a really neat size to have on like a bench or something. It'd be kind of a cool piece to show off on camera. Next, Zwenergy talked about 480p output resolution for the GBAHD. Currently there's only 720p and 1080p output for the GBAHD. Now you'd be able to have a lower 480p resolution. What I think would be even better is what Fenris Wolf Retro commented here, having native resolution, which is something like 360p. That would let you do an HDMI to component adapter and then feed that into something like the RetroTink 5X and take advantage of all the new features that Mike has been putting into the RetroTink 5X, such as 1440p upscaling. Next, I'm going to bring up something I don't have a lot of knowledge about, and if you know more about this, please feel free to talk about it in the comments. Extrems talked about a new Swiss update. Swiss, if you don't know, is sort of like a homebrew application for the GameCube. It allows you to do things like play games from the SD card from like the GC loader. Anyways, in this video from Extrems, we see a game streaming using the broadband adapter. The broadband adapter is the Ethernet adapter for the GameCube. Kind of expensive right now, like $150 on eBay. It looks like with this new Swiss update, it would allow you to stream games over the network. I asked Extrems if file streaming was a new feature in Swiss. The feature is actually old, but with this new update, the performance is a lot better. They said the performance is on the same level as the M.2 loader. I'm assuming he's talking about this SD to SP2 adapter. But anyways, I think this unlocks a whole new possibility for the GameCube. If you had something like a Xenomod chip or an action replay that allow you to use Swiss on your GameCube, you would be able to have a GameCube that still has a disk drive, but would be able to stream an unlimited amount of games over your network. I think this would probably work with RetroNAS. So if you set up RetroNAS to have all of your GameCube games on it, you would be able to stream any of them without having them to be on the GameCube on an SD card. Anyways, I think this feature is really cool. I wish that broadband adapters weren't so expensive. Maybe somebody could make an open source one that is compatible with this. But I'm coming around to the idea of having all of the later generation game consoles be networked, and that way you don't have to do anything like load games onto a hard drive or anything. You could just stream them over the network. All right, we have a couple more stories. This here is a 3DO ODE. I know that there's an existing 3DO ODE. It's this 3DO MNEMO, I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that, which is compatible with a bunch of different versions of the 3DO, which is kind of cool. However, look at the price. The price is in Bitcoins. The cheapest one is actually $254. Actually, this is cheaper than it was because the price of Bitcoin used to be probably almost double what it was now. So this mod used to be $500 something. Anyway, sorry for that rant. This is a new 3DO ODE that's still in development. If you go to this 3DO dev link, apparently it's only compatible with the FC1 CD-ROM type, or it's available as an external export, which I believe is like an external drive that you could use. I don't know much about the 3DO, but if you have interest, they have a Google form right now that you could fill out which version you would like, and I think you probably could leave some feedback as well. All right, last but not least, we have that announcement from Gamebox Systems about the GBHD Advance and its features. Fully assembled units are going to go on sale tomorrow, which is Monday, and DIY kits are going to go on sale on March 1st. And looking at the features here, it supports 3 different resolutions, 1080i, which is interesting, but that's probably a limitation of the FPGA or whatever's running this, 720p, which is sort of typical for Game Boy Advance consolizers, and 480p. There's a bunch of different scaling modes, 6x for that 1080i mode, 4x which is for 720p, 3x is just 480p, and it looks like non-linear full screen scaling, and TV mode, which looks like it probably crops some of the overscan around the outside edge of the video. Gamma correction, which is nice because the Game Boy Advance looks very bright on a bright monitor. Pixel smoothing, Super Nintendo controller port, remappable button option, so you can map AB to YB on the Super Nintendo controller, and it's going to be using USB-C for power, which is nice. I like the USB-C connector over the micro USB. So this is really awesome. No announcement of the price though, but I can't wait to pick up one of these kits on March 1st. That's it for this week. If you want to suggest a news story to me, follow me on Twitter or join the Discord. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.